This is an emergency broadcast.
The prophecy of Armageddon.
In every generation, people believe they might be living the end times. Wars erupt, alliances shift, old enemies return, and somewhere in the background, ancient prophecies seem to whisper that something bigger may be unfolding. Right now, tensions across the Middle East are rising again. Iran, Israel, global powers, military buildups. It feels like the kind of moment that makes people ask an uncomfortable question. What if some of these events were predicted thousands of years ago? And if they were, are we watching those prophecies begin to unfold right now?
Yay, because nothing makes me calm down more than the phrase, ancient prophecy and end of the world.
Tonight, we're exploring the strange intersection between modern geopolitics and some of the most mysterious prophecies ever written. So stay tuned, because you won't want to miss this one. Buried in ancient texts are descriptions of wars involving Persia, Israel, and a massive coalition of nations gathering for a final conflict. Some people believe those predictions are symbolic. Others believe they are literal. And a growing number of researchers think the pieces may already be moving into place. Before we jump to conclusions, we need to go back thousands of years ago where these prophecies first appeared. One of the most discussed prophetic passages comes from the Book of Ezekiel and the Book of Hebrews. Written roughly 2,500 years ago, Ezekiel describes a massive invasion led by a mysterious figure named Gog from the land of Magog. The prophecy describes a coalition of nations marching towards Israel and what appears to be a catastrophic war. But what makes this prophecy interesting is the list of nations that are said to be involved. One of those names appears repeatedly: Persia.
Persia? Ain't that the same as Iran?
That's exactly true. Until 1935, Iran was officially known internationally as Persia, which means a prophecy written thousands of years ago specifically names a nation many people associate with modern Iran. But Persia is only one of the nations mentioned. The prophecy also lists regions that many researchers believe correspond to parts of modern Russia, Turkey, Libya, and Sudan. In other words, massive coalition of nations surrounding Israel.
So the prophecy basically describes the evening news these days.
And that's where things begin to get strange, because in recent years, some of these same countries have been strengthening military and political relationships with one another. Russia and Iran have cooperated militarily in Syria. Turkey's relationship with Western alliances has become increasingly complicated, and multiple Middle Eastern powers have become entangled in conflicts that continue to escalate. For believers in prophecy, these developments raise an uncomfortable possibility. Could these alliances be the early stages of the coalition described in the Book of Ezekiel? Before we go any further, there's something even stranger about this prophecy, something most people don't realize. According to the text, the invading armies arrive in overwhelming numbers, yet the war ends in a way that defies conventional warfare. The prophecy describes earthquakes, confusion among the armies, and what some interpret as divine intervention destroying the invading forces.
So the ultimate final boss in war is God just showing up and slapping everyone around? I like that.
Depending on how the passage is interpreted, yes. But the prophecy doesn't stop there, because the conflict described in Ezekiel is often linked by some researchers to another mysterious prophecy involving a place called Armageddon. The word itself has become synonymous with the end of the world, but its origins are far more specific. Armageddon refers to a real geographic location in northern Israel known as the Valley of Megiddo. Throughout history, this valley has been the site of numerous battles because of its strategic location connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. Ancient armies fought there and empires clashed, And according to the Book of Revelations, it may one day become the gathering point for the final global conflict.
Are you trying to tell me that you hairless monkeys picked the battlefield for Armageddon thousands of years ago? Congratulations. Now you all have a combined IQ of 2.
Well, let's hope they were wrong. According to prophecy, the nations of the world eventually gather for a confrontation unlike anything seen in history before. A war so devastating it changes the course of civilization itself. But that raises an important question. Are these prophecies meant to be taken literally or symbolically? Some theologians argue that the language used in biblical prophecy is highly symbolic. They say the nations listed may represent broader forces rather than specific modern countries. Others point out that attempts to match ancient prophecies to current events have happened many times before. Happened during World War I, World War II, and the Cold War. Each generation believed it may be witnessing the fulfillment of this prophecy. Yet, history continued.
Turns out humans are experts in predicting the end of the world. You just can't figure out the date? Makes sense, man.
Absolutely. All you have to do is look at a YouTube channel. There's thousands of them, fear-mongering and telling you that the world is about to end. But even skeptics acknowledge something interesting. Many of the geopolitical tensions described in ancient texts still revolve around the same regions today. The Middle East has remained one of the most strategically volatile areas on Earth for thousands of years. Empires have both risen and fallen in the Middle East. And global powers continue to compete for influence in the region. Which means the stage described in ancient prophecy has never truly disappeared. The players may change, but the location always remains the same. So are these prophecies predictions of the future, or are they reflections of timeless patterns in human history? Are we witnessing events that were written thousands of years ago, or are we simply interpreting ancient texts through the lens of modern fears?
Either way, champ, maybe we should try not to start World War III.
Probably a good advice. Because whether prophecy is literal or symbolic, history has shown that global conflicts have a way of spiraling far beyond what anyone expects. And if there's one lesson humanity has learned repeatedly, is that wars rarely unfold the way anyone plans. So maybe the real mystery isn't whether prophecy predicts the future. Maybe the real mystery is whether humanity has ever learned from its past. And if we haven't, well, let's hope those prophecies were wrong. That's going to do it for tonight's episode. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, please hit subscribe, like, and drop a comment with your thoughts. That really helps the channel, and the big guy would really appreciate that.
Here is some advice, boys and girls. Stop listening to the news. It will be much better for your health, because those schmucks for sure don't make sense.
Couldn't have said it better myself. As always, I'm your host Adam. That's Mr. Bear. Until next time, be good or be good at it.